Here's what we're going to do. So I'm going to walk through this with you first, and I think you have this completely filled out in your book. But these guys, bath bomb manufacturer, they've got some cash, some accounts receivable, a note receivable. They've got a CD, they've got an E-Trade account, just a securities account. It's got $120,000 worth of stocks in it. They're manufacturing bath bombs, so they have raw materials. They've got some work in process and inventory. Their manufacturing equipment and just the little office furniture around the place is about $430,000. They've got a couple of vehicles that they use for deliveries, and then the real estate that they own. So about $5.3 million in assets. And you'll notice this is following the information gathering thing that I gave you, template. They're asking $3.2 million for the company. SDE is $333. That makes it a multiple of 9.6. $6 million in sales. $3.6 million of that is ARR. They've got people on auto ship. Accounts payable is $140,000. They've got a mortgage on the real estate of $1.2. They have a patented process that they use for making these things. They're running one shift right now at about 37% capacity. They market via live events and podcasts primarily, and they also sell by Rep Network and AdWords. The CEO wants to retire. The COO and CFO are staying on. They've got 869 active customers right now with 22,000 prospects on their prospect list pipeline. The seller is leaving to start a new business, Shiny Object Syndrome, and wants to learn how to fly and buy a King Air, which is a very noisy propeller plane. So this is our profile, and your mission, should you choose to accept it. Funding from assets, I want you to get it funded from the assets, and other source funding, I want you to do a zero out-of-pocket deal. I would like for you to put some money in your own pocket, and then have enough money to reinvest some in the company. So that is the mission. And I want to take 30 minutes. You've got your deal stack that we went over. So the question is, how would you analyze and structure this deal? You got 30 minutes, Deanna? Before we start, any questions? All right, let's see how you do. Okay. Who wants to start and tell me how they did the deal?
Okay, I guess we'll start.
You guys?
Sure.
Okay, awesome.
Okay. All right, we're gonna double team this one.
Yeah.
So we're gonna tell you a story because once you get into the math, it's like convoluted. So try to listen to this as if you're the actual guy selling the business, right? Because you have to sell the vision before you do strategy and tactics. If you work on tactics, people go. So first of all, this is an amazing company. We don't want to start by telling you how amazing it is, but all of us are tacticians in the room, so we started talking about all the different ways that we could blow this thing up, and we wasted our first 10 minutes doing that. And then we're like, oh yeah, we're supposed to actually talk about the deal. So the big thing is, the guy has a vision for his life. He doesn't want money, he wants the things he can do with it. And he wants this King Air?
King Air.
I was showing you about planes. And so we looked at it and said, well, what's one of those $2 million? Is a pretty good one. Now the expectation is that this guy sold it for $3.2 million, that he would not go out and buy an $8 million plane.
Yeah, it's new. $8 million is a new price for a plane.
So we tried to match his expectation of what we thought his life would be versus, he doesn't expect a new $8 million King Air, but if he can get 60% of his payout into that, great. So we'll buy him that, give it to him, put him in his name, do 7-year loan on it at 5%.
$336,000 a year is the interest carry.
Right, we had, how much now?
$400.
Okay, so we do this cash, let's do the little cash in our score sheet.
So so that people can keep track of it, would you mind charting it out real quick?
One of the things, though, from the get-go, too, is that he's asking way too much money for the company.
Okay.
Based on the SDE and the multiple.
Okay.
He's even on the high side of 3.7 multiple on SDE, he should be, it's like a $1.2 million company.
Okay.
So there's some room there.
All right.
So what we said is, what's the ultimate goal? Is to do this without putting any money in, and we wanted to get $500,000 out. So we wanted to do this deal, put no money in.
That's a good rule.
And put $500,000 in our pocket.
Nice.
That was our goal. So all we have to do is talk about where is the cash. And of course, the cash is in cash. That's $925,000. Now, none of us in this room would leave $925,000 cash in this business. So just remember it off the bat to say just reduce that. And then in real estate, there was 1.1 million.
Yeah, the 2.3 that it's worth less, was it 1.2 loan on it?
Yep.
Yeah, so this guy really isn't asking 3.2 million. He's got 2 million in cash already. Maybe he's not sophisticated enough to understand that, but he's only asking 1.2 million for a business that does 333,000 in manufacturing, which is not a crazy multiple, right? But we don't want to explain this to him. So we have 200,000 of cash to play with. So now where do we spend this cash? We spend it on 20% down for a plane.
Yep. So that's 400.
Great. He's got his plane. So that's the first thing, mission accomplished. So now what we have to do is change his thinking that no one ever pays full price because you're an idiot if you do. So what would be a number where he would go, yeah, that sounds pretty good, but he had a potential to go up and pass that with an earnout. So an earnout would be great, and we have plenty of money and ways to grow the business that an earnout makes sense. So we talked about an earnout that had 3 tiers, and all he had to do is hit 90% of SDE. And this is just 1 year, because after 1 year we'll be off into the sunset on something new. At 90% of SDE,
He gets 200.
200K.
So he has an upside to earn get 3.5 for his company.
So at 100%, he gets another 200. And at 110%, he gets another 200. Now, it's not super hard to believe, because moving 10% on 333 is moving up 33,000 a year. But we're only buying this company for 2.9 million, and the rest of this is an earnout of 600,000. So he says to himself, well, I wanted 3.2, I didn't expect to get the full price. 2.9's kind of fair. I have a really good chance of getting 3.1, a really good chance of getting 3.3, and a really good chance of getting 3.5.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of upside in this company.
And then what we're gonna tell him is, you know, we still need you to come into the lunchroom like once a quarter with your wife's lasagna, because people love that, and, you know, sit on our board and take pictures at the company photo, and, you know, being included, this becomes these guys' identity. So if you can show him that he gets to stick around in ways that don't actually hurt how you operate the company, that's actually value to a person. To just send somebody off into the sunset and go say, fly your plane and sit around, not cool, having done this before. So we thought that that was a good way to do that. So now our new target is not 3.2, our new target is 2.9. And he's bought into the whole thing.
All right.
Okay, so the next thing we did.
The next thing we did was, how are we gonna pay for it? So there's a lot of, if I look at the sheet, there's a lot of money.
Just give us the aggregate, so you
Yeah.
can just kind of say, pretty, just because I don't want to take too much
No,
time.
no.
So, yeah, so
What's the
way we
deal
do it-
stack?
Deal stack is deferred down payment of $500,000.
Okay.
You get that in 6 months, between 6 to 12 months. He's going to carry back $400,000 of paper.
Okay.
And then the other
So they got
amount,
900.
so that's 900.
Yeah, and then where are we at?
And then the plane.
Yeah, and then the only thing we have to do is sell the real estate, right? So 2.3 million, 20% of that down is 460,000.
And if we're nice guys, we'll pay you some plane lessons.
Yeah. So the only, for this 2 million in cash, we need 860,000 of it to do 20% down on the plane and 20% down on the real estate deal. Of course, you now have a $28,000 a month plane payment, but it all works out. So that's the real basics of it, just to sum it up. That's your cash. This is where you use it. Deal stack is DDP, everybody knows, heard of that, right? Carry back of 400, and then we have an earnout that actually keeps on having.
Great, very cool. Anybody have questions? Thoughts, comments? All
Is it
right.
reasonable to assume that he's going to give up his cash?
You never know. You never know. The cool thing about this is there isn't any right or wrong way to do it. So I'll show you different ways that I would approach it once we get done. But the thing about cash in a company is when you're selling, you get a multiple of the EBITDA or the SDE, and the company has to be a going concern when you get it. So the seller doesn't get to take out all of the seller's cash that's in it. So there's an argument about what is the amount of working capital that the company should have, the gas that should come in the tank to keep the company going when you get into negotiations. And so then they have a thing called the working capital adjustment, which is probably the place where you get the most negotiation, the most intense negotiation after you've already agreed on a price. Because he said, I want this much for it, and you're saying, cool, well, the cash is $925. Oh, no, I was going to take the cash out. Well, wait a minute. How much cash does it take to run the business? So that's a negotiation. Okay? You want to come up here?
Yeah, or they might be able to work off the same.
Call it out from here. Yeah, we can call it out, yeah. So Roland, I'm glad you pointed out this as a transition into us, and we'll give you our answer, but that the cash was, I mean, typically cash is cash, so you don't think that's coming with it, so that's interesting to call how you negotiate that as what's necessary. I love the terminology of gas in the tank, that
Yep.
you can't starve the business of the cash coming into it. I would always assume that the buyer would have enough cash to cash flow the business later on, so they would have to put into it. So that's interesting that you would negotiate that out of it. So we started looking at a few different things. On the receivables, the account receivable and note receivable, when I study deals, it's like looking at how much of that is ultimately will get paid or not. So we wanted to carve that out in the sense like we would pay it as it gets paid.
Good.
So yeah, so on those two we did that. When we were doing it, we assumed that the cash, the CD and E-Trade accounts basically is money, so it's like that's not part of the deal.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of separated that when we're looking at it. On the raw materials.
So each time that you did that, that's reducing the purchase price, right?
Correct.
So how much did you reduce the purchase price total in carve-outs?
300, you can't follow.
Okay, he's got that down, so we were doing it together.
So what do you have as the purchase price? That I would like for you to draw up here, because you guys know what your numbers are.
Well, we decided not to.
So tell me first off, what are you going to pay for it? What's the purchase price
Well, so
for you?
this is again, these guys, it sucks going after them. But we didn't actually challenge the assumptions there. We thought, look, yeah. So we just went based on 3.2.
Okay, great. So write 3.2 up.
All right.
So now we know that's the purchase price. Now how are you gonna pay for that?
I know someone else might have come up here and help me.
Yeah.
All right. Just here your friends are now. Yeah. No.
We had the real estate.
tied in a group.
Real estate is valued at 2.3 million, so we're going to do a 90% financing SBA 504 on that one. So that'll give us 2.07.
Yeah. Well. All right. So 2.07.
2.07.
Okay. All right, so that's new real estate loan.
Real estate loan. Okay.
All right, so then we took out the CD and E-Trade off the top, right?
Yeah, we carved out all the cash or cash equivalents, what we considered that wouldn't be part of the deal, but thank you for educating us that we can negotiate on that too.
I thought we reduced the purchase price.
That does reduce the purchase price.
So 170.
Correct.
Okay. So that was CD.
But that's the thing, Roland, was the fact that he's including, $925,000 in cash assumed to be part of the 3.2. In that case, the business is free when you pull out the real estate value.
Potentially, yeah.
Okay.
Free is a good word.
Yeah, but do you see what I'm saying? Like that's where we didn't look at the price difference because we assumed that was separate to begin with. He's asking 3.2, and if you look.
We'll all have different assumptions. So like that's the whole point of the exercise is to see, because other people might go, that's really smart. Other people might go, that's really crazy. I didn't, or lots of people would be like, I didn't think of that way.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to see how the different groups do it, so you know.
So I guess we'll answer your question on what the revised number should be. I want to focus really quickly on some of the things we did with our sources for financing. So on the FF&E,
So just so I can say here, right now, we got 3.2, and we've subtracted 2,070,000, right? So that gave us 1,130,000, and then
Correct.
we're gonna do the E-Trade, we're gonna carve those out or sell them or something, and we're gonna get 170 from that, so now we're down to 960.
correct, we were going to go raw materials, work with our supplier,
Okay.
assume that we could get 50% of it returned, and then create a JIT relationship, so that way we don't have it on the books.
Okay.
So that was going to give us a credit back of about 113K.
Okay, so
Just
subtract the
just by
113.
having them hold it for us and sell it to us slowly.
Are we not doing, I feel that my mind's, all right.
Okay, vehicles, we had at 120. We were
You're
gonna
doing
sell-
great.
We assumed that that's at market value, so we could sell them right off the top and then lease them separately.
Okay,
So 120.
okay.
And then on the FF&E, we assume that it's machinery, and as long as it's got 15-year life, we could do a 504 for 90% of it. So SBA financing of 90% of 530 is 387,000.
Okay.
What happened to our SBA loan?
That's
That's 207.
that's the 2070 for the CRE.
I thought we were doing this, the rest on the 75% SBA. No?
Well, hold on, because
Okay.
we
See, we're
it's
making
better to
sure
do
we're
90% considering it's manufacturing equipment. So
Okay.
So you got your
I'm
finance.
just writing down what you come up with now.
yeah,
You're-
yeah. At 387.
I'm your Vanna White. What three?
Okay, great, so now we're down to 340, left to pay for it. What else are we doing?
We had this is where the notes and the accounts receivable came in. We had to just defer down payment and say, hey, we'll pay you this
Okay.
when we get it.
Great.
Right, and then
How much
the
is that?
patent, we were gonna have them assign the patent to us, and we were
Well,
gonna call
let's not
Kevin.
do two things at once. So first, you got a DDP that you're gonna do here, right?
Yeah,
And how much is that?
338, 750.
Okay,
And that's the balance? Balance check?
that leaves you $1,250.
What was this? This was the receivables.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead, Jason.
And then, yeah, on the patent, we were gonna have that assigned to us, and we were gonna call Kevin O'Leary to help us resell that one.
Okay.
But honestly, that's basically as far as we got with working the sources for revenue. That's
Okay.
really where we got to on.
Okay, so you're gonna have to come out of pocket $1,250?
Well, that's what so back to my notes real quick. We had so we were gonna do the 2.07 real estate loan. We were gonna take these off the top, the 170, and then the balance of that, I thought we could run an SBA loan on the 75%. That, we had a loan balance on here in 675.
Okay, so you got another $675 that's not on there, right?
Correct.
It's not on there, yeah, and then we figured the FF&E we could pull cash out of that after we bought it to get cash out.
If you add a 675 to that, you've got 673 in cash now, right? So that's great.
Yeah, so, there we go.
Roland, is the $200,000 note receivable, is that a note to the seller that you loan the money to the company?
No.
No.
It's a receivable, so it's owed to the-
It's owed to the company. They can discount it.
The note receivable, it doesn't matter, there is a note. It could be that, but you would ask questions about it, but it doesn't really matter because either way, it's something that could be used in contributing to the purchase price.
Okay.
Okay, so with that 675 loan, you've now put 673,000 in your pocket and you paid for the company. And is that everything?
Yeah, then we said, we found out that they have 869 customers, we're $6,900 a year, which is fucking awesome. So, at 22,000 prospects, so they have 735,000 in inventory. We figured, hey, on day one, run a huge promo, get as many of those, give away that inventory to get those customers on the hook for being customers.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great. I love it. Thank you. That's great. Very cool, very cool. All right, who's the next group? Brenda, what group were you in? Brenda and John, were you guys in the same group? Okay. So are we down here, Barbara, to your group? All right. Who's
We're taking all the good ideas from the other people.
I like it. It's like, hang on 1 minute.
The numbers worked out. So we assumed we were gonna pay him what he was asking, so.
Did you do a spreadsheet?
Huh?
Yeah, because I can plug it into there if that's easier for you.
Might be, right?
No, because I think,
Okay.
we want to talk it through. We want to talk it
We
through.
might change our numbers as we do.
Yeah. And this is why we combine.
Okay, so 3-2 purchase price.
And then we were gonna give him most of the cash. We assumed we'd keep 140 to pay the accounts payable.
Okay.
Just to run it pretty lean. So we give him 785,000 of the cash back, plus the 50,000 in the CD, plus the 120. So that adds up to 955,000, so we'll reduce this.
So that's carve outs,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Okay.
Because he's working his way to the dollar value that the buyer needed. basically.
Love it.
Yeah. So that leaves us with 2,245,000.
Yep.
Sorry, my writing's pretty bad here. And we're gonna get an SBA loan on that, which at 70%, that will give the seller $1,571,000. Plus the 955 in carve outs. And that's gonna give him a total of 2.56 million, which is enough for him to get his King Air, so that's his King Air.
We evaluated the value of a plane on a used King Air that we looked up, and it's between 2.3 and 2.6 for a 2008 King Air. So we're not giving him a new one.
Yeah, he gets
But
a
he'll
used
get his
King
King Air.
All right.
And then the seller is gonna carry back 674,000. And in order to cover this plus the SBA loan, we sell the real estate, which nets us 1.1 million.
Okay.
So that gives us cash in the tank. It'll allow us, if we wanted to, we could pay off his note, but if we don't feel like we need to, we can just keep the cash and pay him as we see fit.
Okay.
So we're gonna have like 6 months to close, and then once we control the deal, we'll market the real estate and sell the real estate the same day as the closing of the business, so we'll have the cash to
Okay, I love it.
do it.
And we see a lot of upside on that 22,000 email list that we can, right out of the gate, have a plan to hit the trigger and convert them to sales of the existing inventory and do a bunch of other stuff with.
So you've got the seller what they want, and how much cash do you have in your pocket?
We've got 1.1 million from the sale,
Yeah.
plus 140, which covers accounts receivable, plus all the inventory.
Okay, great.
And we used a factor of, we assumed, 20% off of the accounts receivable,
Okay.
because that's what normal, factoring is, discount is.
Fair enough. I love it. Okay, go. Thanks. Got one more group here, right?
So I thought one of the initial assumptions that we needed to question was the valuation of the multiple. So we went back and looked on the sheet that was provided, what the multiples were. We found miscellaneous
Specialty retail.
specialty retail.
So
as
it was a
the variable.
7.9 multiple.
Yeah, so 7.9. So that brought our price from, the asking of 3.2 down to 2.6.
Okay.
We asked the seller to, because it seemed like he had a ton of inventory, the 735,000, so we just went ahead and did that as consigned to the seller. So that cut 735 out, and we just carved that out of, essentially the price. We did an SBA loan at 70, what was my math? At 70%, so that gave us 1.82. And then we went ahead and sold 10% of the business to the COO and CFO because they were, wanted to stay on and it seemed like a great way to do it. So that gave us 260,000. Then I think everybody thought sell the real estate, lease it back. So we sold the real estate. They gave us 1.1 million. And so the total is somewhere around 3.9.
Okay.
And we just had to cover the 2.6, so that gave us 1.3 million left in the bank.
Fantastic. Look.
Good.
Nice.